Okay, so get this. Everyone's in a tizzy about trade wars. Again,
Yeah, seems like we can't escape them these days.
right? And it's like we're all supposed to know what they are, but do we really? Like, what's the big deal? That's what we're diving into today.
Totally, we gotta unpack this whole thing.
Exactly.
Mm.
See, we've got this article, Texto Pagado, Monday's News, and let me tell you, it's a doozy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're calling it a market rout. Jitters.
Sounds intense.
It is. And the thing is, this isn't just like Wall Street jargon, you know? It affects all of us.
Oh, absolutely. This is about people's livelihoods, their savings, their futures, really.
Right. Like my 401k is probably weeping right now.
Probably a lot of folks feeling that way.
So let's break this down. First things first, the stock market took a nosedive on Monday. Big time. Dow Jones down 1.25%, S&P 500 down 1.5%.
Ouch.
Yeah, and the NASDAQ down a whopping 2%. Okay, so for those of us who aren't, stockbrokers, what does that even mean?
Well, those indexes, they're kind of like a report card for the overall stock market. They track a bunch of different companies, and when they drop like that, it means basically that investors are losing confidence.
So it's like a giant mood ring for the economy.
Kinda, yeah. But instead of changing colors, it's changing numbers, and those numbers represent the value of people's investments.
So less value, more panic.
You got it. And this panic, it can be contagious. One person starts selling, others follow, and it creates a downward spiral.
Speaking of spirals, the article highlights U.S. auto companies specifically.
Yeah.
GM down 6%, Ford down 4%. Why were they hit so hard? They're American, right? Shouldn't they benefit from, like, America First policies?
Well, here's the thing. In today's globalized world, even American companies rely on a complex network of suppliers and manufacturers from all over the globe.
Ah, okay, so it's more like world first if you want to make a car these days.
Exactly. Take car parts. A lot of those for U.S. automakers actually come from Canada and Mexico. Now, slap tariffs on those countries, and suddenly those parts become more expensive.
Which means the cars themselves get pricier.
Exactly. And that can hurt sales, making investors nervous so they sell their stock, driving the price down even further. It's a chain reaction.
Oof, yeah, that makes sense. And this wasn't just a U.S. thing either, right? The article mentions Japan's Nikkei index dropped 2.5%, and even Europe's STOXX 600 fell about 1%. What gives? We're not even trading with them directly, are we?
Not directly, maybe. But the global economy, it's like a giant spider web.
Whoa, okay, I'm picturing it.
Yeah, so imagine you pluck one strand in one corner. That vibration, it travels throughout the whole web.
Meaning everyone feels it?
Precisely.
Hmm.
A trade war between major economies, it disrupts the flow of goods and services everywhere. So even if a country isn't directly involved in the spat, they can still feel the impact.
So, like, if the U.S. and China are duking it out, Europe gets hit with the economic shrapnel.
You got it. It can mess with their exports, their investments, even their confidence in the global market. Nobody wins in a trade war.
Man, that's sobering. Okay, let's back up a bit. Trump announced these tariffs on Saturday. 25% on stuff coming in from Mexico and Canada, 10% on Chinese goods.
Big numbers.
Huge. And they were set to take effect, like, immediately, Tuesday.
Fast turnaround.
So, okay, back to basics. What exactly are tariffs and why do governments use them? Like, what's the point?
Simply put, a tariff is a tax on imported goods.
Okay, so like a surcharge for buying stuff from other countries.
Exactly. And the idea behind it is to make those foreign goods more expensive, right? Which encourages people to buy domestic products instead.
So it's like buy American, but with a price tag attached.
You got it. Governments often use them to protect domestic industries, give them a competitive edge.
But doesn't that just make things more expensive for everyone?
It can. It's a trade-off, literally. Sometimes governments feel it's worth it to protect certain industries, even if it means consumers have to pay a bit more.
And in this case, it sparks some major retaliation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau, he didn't waste any time. Announced 25% tariffs on, get this, $155 billion worth of U.S. goods.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then you've got Mexico's President Sheinbaum. She activated their Plan B, which is a whole mix of tariffs and other measures.
Yeah, nobody backs down easily in these situations. It's a game of chicken, almost.
And it seems like everyone loses in the end, right?
Yeah.
Because, like you said, prices go up, economies get shaky.
Definitely. Think about all the stuff that could be affected here. agricultural products, steel, aluminum, cars, electronics. It's a long list.
Yeah, and that's what everyone uses, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we're all paying the price for these trade wars.
Pretty much. And it's not just about the immediate cost either. Trade wars create uncertainty, businesses hold back on investments, hiring slows down. It can really mess things up long term.
So, okay, let's circle back to the main idea here. If tariffs are supposed to protect domestic industries, how could they end up hurting everyone? Like, isn't that counterproductive?
Well, the idea is to make domestic goods more competitive by making foreign goods more expensive.
Right.
But the catch is a lot of those domestic goods, they rely on imported parts or materials. So when those get hit with tariffs, the production costs for domestic companies go up too, even though they're American.
So it's like shooting yourself in the foot.
Kind of. And then when other countries retaliate with their own tariffs, it creates this vicious cycle, this tit for tat, and that can damage the entire global economy. Nobody wins.
Man, it's like a giant economic puzzle, but nobody has the instruction manual.
It is. And that's why these trade wars are so tricky. So many moving parts, intended consequences, unintended consequences. It's hard to predict how it'll all shake out.
So where do we go from here? Like, what are we supposed to do with all this information?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that trade wars are complex. They have far-reaching consequences that can impact all of us, not just big corporations or Wall Street. And maybe, just maybe, they make us question, are tariffs really the best way to protect domestic industries, or are there other solutions that could benefit everyone, both here and abroad? Something to think about, right?
Definitely a lot to chew on. Thanks for breaking it all down. Until next time.
Absolutely. Catch you later.